So, what editing techniques did we learn?
We use a bigger range of editing techniques in the actual film.
Yeah, a lot more so than in our continuity, because in our continuity we only use jump cuts.
But then in the...
We used fades, and we used... because editing techniques, it's not just like the cuts between shots, it's like speeding up shots and slowing them down.
Yeah, of course, and when like the 360 shot,
yeah,
so sped that up.
We had to speed that up for the effect. I feel that the editing techniques we used in our final piece were beneficial to our narrative. They made it seem more, I think, realistic. With the fades, made it more mysterious.
Yeah, kind of like added to the effect we wanted to create through it as well. Yeah,
because I think using all jump cuts in the continuity made it a little bit stop-starty.
So we used a wider range of shots in the actual film compared to continuity.
Yeah, and we used them for a purpose.
Yeah. So we used lots of like extreme close-ups and close-ups in the scenes of you dead.
Yes, to show the significance of my death.
And isolating you from the other characters.
Yeah.
So like the close-up helped to kind of like single you out.
Yeah, that's true. And I think in using the different shots in our final piece, we did definitely learn to use them for a reason, as opposed to in the continuity piece, where we just saw it as more, we had to get a range of shots in, but not for a particular reason.
Rather than thinking like, oh, this will give this effect, this will do this, it was just kind of like,
this is
hey,
what
let's
we'll
put
do.
that there.
Yeah. And I think with for example, the extreme close-up of Caitlin's mouth in the continuity piece, whereas we used extreme close-ups in our final piece to show the significance of like objects such as the pills
and the photo,
etc., that really had no significance in the continuity piece. It was just an extreme close-up shot of her mouth because that was a shot that we wanted to get in there. And I think throughout the process of making our final film, we learned that actually a technique that most filmmakers use is they don't just use shots for the sake of it, they use it for a purpose, so that they add meaning to the narrative.
In the continuity piece, we didn't really use any non-diegetic sound. We literally just had the conversation and that was it. But then in the actual film, we used like the 2 tracks, the Jealousy song and everything to help kind of tie everything together. Like, so the Jealousy song, the lyrics like related to the narrative of the piece and helped kind of like tie all of that together. But then the sort of use of the more eerie, like high-pitched sounds and stuff, they kind of like helped to like create the atmosphere that we wanted to.
Yeah, there's very stereotypical music for a thriller.
Yeah.
And also in the continuity piece, not only did we not use non-diegetic sound, there was a lot of background noise in it, and I felt that sort of was quite distracting from what they were saying, and I think we were quite careful of that in our final piece, that there was no background noise, so it didn't take away from what the characters were saying.
Yeah, definitely.
So in our final piece, we used the juxtaposition of shots for an effect. Yeah. Which I don't think we really used juxtaposition at all in our continuity piece.
No, it was purely just...
It was just very straightforward, and it was linear, because we filmed that linearly, didn't we?
Yeah.
You know, we filmed the shots in order, which is something we didn't do.
Yeah, because with the actual film, we like, all the shots of you in the garage, say, we filmed them all, like, together when we were in the garage. But then, obviously, they didn't appear like that in the piece.
Yeah, and I think we learned from that as well, that filming in a non-linear style is much easier, because you can film all the shots in one location at one time. I think that also helps to reduce continuity errors, because
definitely.
Things don't change.
Move, and it's less error of, like props being in like a slightly different position.
And camera angles as well. If you want something to be from the same place, or someone to, like, for example, when I was lying on the floor, if you wanted me to be in the exact same position, that's very hard to get twice unless you draw around me. So that's just not practical, so I think that was definitely helpful. The juxtaposition of shots that we used between the shots of you and Josh living and it being quite warm lighting, and then putting those shots directly before shots of me dead in the garage, which are very eerie lighting, and obviously I'm not living in them. I think that was really quite effective because it showed the contrast between life and death, which showed binary opposition, which is Levi Strauss's theory. I think that was quite a good use of shots to be able to do that, which is not something that we would have been able to do in the continuity piece, because there was no sort of juxtaposition that we could use.
The narrative didn't really allow it.
That definitely, in my opinion, didn't allow for us to use theorists' theories in it. It didn't allow for binary opposition at all, because it was a very plain narrative. There wasn't much depth that we could go into with it.
Yeah, the use of props that we added helped with the narrative. So you have the ring in the 360 shot, but then Josh throws the ring box. No, I throw the ring box at Josh.
Yeah.
In the beginning. So then the use of those props helps to set up the narrative.
Yes, it does. Whereas in our continuity piece, there was very limited use of props apart from the media book.
Yeah.
Because that was obviously very simple narrative is what it centred around.
Yeah.
Whereas our narrative in our final piece was a lot more complex. So throughout we had, especially because we only film in the opening sequence, we had to use props in order to help weave the narrative through the shots.
Yeah.
So as you were talking about the ring box in the shot with you throwing it at Josh, and then the one with me holding it in the 360, it helps to link that, that ring box is a significance to the narrative because of the relationships.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's not something that we considered massively in our continuity piece.
No, we focused more on the shots themselves rather than what was in them.
Yeah, and I think we learned by the end of the process that actually the use of props was of key importance to help tie in the narrative.
Yeah, we broadened our knowledge on the editing software that we used.
Yeah, definitely.
We managed to kind of be able to do more with it, and put more in the piece, because if you don't have a good knowledge of the software, you can't really do much with it.
No, I think it's all about experimenting with editing software, and obviously throughout the course we were able to experiment with it more, and we could do more things to make it more interesting, like the titles, where we got them to flicker, which is something that we previously couldn't do.
We would have just been able to put them there, but then with experimenting and researching, we managed to
do that. Yeah, definitely. And of course, with the first edit of our continuity piece, we used Serif Movie Plus as our editing software, which is not that professional of an editing software. It's just the one that they had in school.
Yeah.
And we found that when we saved it as a Serif Movie Plus file, our edit, that it was quite jumpy and it was very bad quality.
Yeah.
So obviously we resaved it as an MP4, which improved the quality, but it still wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So when we then went to the college and we got to use Premiere Pro, which is the editing software we use for our final piece, we got to learn that actually, we could save them as a Premiere Pro file and they'd still be good quality, as well as saving them as an MP4. But I think experimenting with the editing softwares and finding out that one was better and more professional looking than the other was really beneficial too.
Yeah, because it can help us in future projects and stuff as well.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have knowledge of the basics and of now more complex things that we can use the editing software for.